Geronimo, one of the most famous Native American leaders in U.S. history, was born into the Apache tribe and known for his bravery, military skills, and leadership in resisting both the U.S. and Mexican armies. Despite his fierce resistance, he eventually became a prisoner of the U.S. forces, yet remained a symbol of freedom and independence for Native Americans. Here is the detailed story of his life. Geronimo was born on June 16, 1829, in the Gila Mountains, an area that today lies between New Mexico and Arizona. He was originally named Goyakla, meaning the one who yawns. He was a member of the Chiricahua Apache tribe, known for their resistance against settlers and the U.S. Army in the American Southwest. In his youth, Geronimo learned the arts of war and hunting and became a distinguished warrior in his tribe. However, a turning point in his life came when his family was brutally killed by Mexican soldiers in 1851. This event changed his life forever and motivated him to become a relentless leader of resistance. After the murder of his family, Geronimo swore revenge on the Mexicans who killed his wife, children, and mother. He led many raids against Mexican settlements, seeking retribution for the loss of his family. It was during this time that he earned the name Geronimo, which likely came from the cries of Mexican soldiers during battle. Though the Apache were always in conflict with Mexico, the larger conflict emerged with the United States as it expanded westward after annexing Texas, Arizona, and New Mexico. In the mid-19th century, the United States began extending its control over Apache lands, leading to repeated clashes between the U.S. Army and the Apache tribes. Geronimo became a key leader of raids and attacks against settlers and military forces. Between 1876 and 1886, there was a series of violent confrontations between the Apache and the U.S. Army. Despite his small number of warriors, Geronimo's knowledge of the desert terrain and his tactical prowess allowed him to outmaneuver and defeat both U.S. and Mexican forces repeatedly. Geronimo surrendered to the U.S. Army several times after negotiations, but always managed to escape back into the mountains. One of his most famous escapes was in 1885, when he and 35 warriors and family members fled into the mountains after agreeing to surrender. They continued to launch attacks on settlers and the U.S. Army for another year. In 1886, after years of resistance, Geronimo was forced to surrender for the last time to General Nelson Miles. This event marked the end of major armed resistance by the Apache. After his final surrender, Geronimo and a group of his people were exiled to Florida and later to Alabama. Geronimo spent the rest of his life as a prisoner. He was eventually moved to Fort Sill in Oklahoma, where he lived out his final years. Despite living as a prisoner, Geronimo became a public figure. He appeared at various public events, including the 1904 St. Louis World's Fair, and was invited to attend national events such as President Theodore Roosevelt's inauguration. In his later years, Geronimo expressed regret for surrendering, but he remained a symbol of resistance and resilience. In 1909, he fell from his horse and contracted pneumonia. Geronimo passed away on February 17, 1909. Geronimo is considered one of the greatest Native American leaders in U.S. history. He is remembered for his courage, military skill, and his fierce defense of his people and their lands against powerful forces.